Hey guys, it's Nicholas here from upgradeTolife.com, and in this video I want to talk about who are you. Most people don't know who they really are. So this is one of the videos that you should definitely not only watch twice, not only watch when you're driving or doing some course, some chores and some other stuff while watching this video. This should be a video that you should pay high attention to, because when you get this, your whole sense of life, of reality, of consciousness changes, because I would like to talk with you about the truth of life and how you can tap into that so that reaching your goals, manifestation, and just your life in general becomes way easier, way better by you realizing who you really are. So we are digging a little bit deeper in this video. Some of you may don't get it at first, which is no problem. Some of you maybe already know this. But no matter what, definitely watch this video because it will be helpful no matter what. So who are you, right? That is always the question, right? Who are you actually? And in this video, I want you to realize for yourself who you really are, if you don't know it already. Okay, so in order to do that, I came up with something that is also part of my coaching program, and I extracted some of the teachings from there, and now I put it onto YouTube here because I want more people also to get this, to realize this. I want everyone to get this and realize this, because that is the key to life. So therefore, first of all, let's look at the current paradigm, which then will become the old paradigm when you change and start to think from this new paradigm, because you realize that this is actually the truth. Okay, so let's look at what society and 99.9% of people out there think and how they approach life. So what we think, right? What we think when we think about life and creation and consciousness is that we think, okay, when we are born, we have this physical body and brain. That is who we are. We are on this planet. And then we become, at some point, we become conscious, right? And we have this consciousness within our body. And yeah, our body produces the consciousness. That is, maybe for most people who are watching this channel, not so obvious, but for those people who are new to this or who haven't really realized that, it sounds like, obviously, yeah, this is how it works. This is how life works, right? First, there's the body. First, we have the physical body. We are born in this world, and then we have consciousness within us, okay? That's most of the times the current paradigm. Now, let's look at the new paradigm that I want to teach, that I discovered, that I tested, that I realized, that Neville is teaching, that many spiritual people are teaching, and that most successful people have realized, because that is actually the truth. Okay? So, in the new paradigm is that first, the essence of everything, the only reality, like Neville Goddard says, right? The consciousness is the only reality, right? The thing that is there before we have this physical body is consciousness, and then consciousness is conscious of being and having a physical body and the brain and thoughts and emotions and sensations. So consciousness is the underlying thing, that is the underlying essence of everything, and from time to time it has the form of a physical body, which it has right now in your life, in your human experience. And this is this new paradigm which I right now want to go into more detail of, so that you really get this point. Because until now, you maybe say, okay, yep, I already realized that I'm way more than my body and my thoughts and all of this, but I want you to really get you to this point step by step. So let's jump into it, right? First of all, why is this so important, right? Why should you realize this? Why should you have this self-discovery, this self-realization of who you really are? The first thing is that if you continue to identify yourself with the ego, right, with your body and your mind, then you will never be free. You will always stay very limited, because the human mind is very limited in its capacity, right? The imagination, the consciousness is infinite and unlimited, but your human rational thinking is, limited in its approach. And people think they manifest their reality and their goals and their desires through the ego, which is totally false, right? People think that it is only their thoughts that manifest. It is wrong, guys. It is wrong. I made a video where I explained the whole journey of manifesting, how it really works, and how you can understand all of it in a step-by-step way. I will link this here. It's an extensive 2-part series. Make sure you check it out. It's like a step-by-step way, what comes first, what happens then, and what is actually leading to the manifestation. So check this out. And again, when you think that your ego is responsible for your manifestations, then you will be always limited to the ego. And when your ego is telling you you're only worthy of having this, or you're only capable of having this, then you rely on this, and that is your ceiling. You won't grow beyond that. So stop thinking that, and it is actually wrong, which we're going to discover in this video. Also, you will discover that beyond your ego is where your true power and this true peace, this true freedom, this true creative power actually is coming from. It's not the ego. The ego is explained in that way, like just a vehicle used from your consciousness to have those experiences in this physical world. But it's not the ego that is so powerful, right? It only is powerful when we're unconscious and we give our power away to the ego, to our emotions, to our thoughts. But it's not the ego that has the control. When we are conscious, when we're unconscious, the ego has control, and therefore we suffer because we only believe in what our ego is telling us. We only believe in the limitations of the ego, and that's not the right way of living a fulfilled life. Also, why realizing who you really are is so important is that you will find out that you are way more than your mind tells you, if you haven't realized this already. So the big and eternal question that a lot of people who came into the field of self-realization and started their own self-development journey, they ask themselves, who am I? Right? Who am I actually? Ask yourself the question right now, who am I? And then there are some obvious answers that your mind will say. They will say, oh yeah, you're Nicholas. And you will say, yeah, I'm my name, and I'm this, I'm that. But eventually we will discover that those are all just concepts, that those is not who you really are. Okay? So let me lead you to this realization of who you really are. Now, what I want you to do is, as you can see here, we have here I am, and then we have like, this is who you think you are. And I want you to watch this I am. This is what I want you to keep in mind, because you say, okay, I am John, right? And during this whole process that I'm now going to explain to you, I wanted you to be aware of this, right? So this is who you think you are, right? When I ask you, who are you? You say, okay, yep, I'm John. I have a body, I have a brain. Some people more, some people less, but right, that's me. I have my name, I have my body, that is who I am. And then you say, yeah, that's me, right? I have emotions, I have thoughts, I have sensations when I touch things and smell things and hear things, right? Those are my sensations that I have. And then obviously there is this outside world, and there are people, and this is separate from me. This is who I am, right? I'm just born in this physical world. Things are separate from me, and I have those emotions and thoughts, and that is who I just am, right? This little person on this planet. And now I want you to do a small little experiment, right? Stay with me. This video is probably being a little bit longer, but stay with me, because you will realize that there is more. So when I say I hear my thoughts, I experience joy, I feel cold, right? Thoughts, emotions, sensations. Then what we pretty quick realize is that the I, right? When I say I hear my thoughts, I experience the joy, I feel cold. The I is always separate from the thing that is experienced. Now, when we look at this picture again, okay, I'm pretty sure that you would agree with me when we say, okay, yeah, I think I'm this body and mind and all of this stuff, but you would agree with me that you are not the outside world. Okay, so maybe we can take this away, because then people say, okay, yeah, this world is separate from me. I'm not the world, so let's focus more on my emotions and stuff like that and my thoughts. And then they say, yeah, that is who I am, right? But I'm also sure you pretty quickly would agree with me that you are not your sensations, because that is just what you touch. And when you touch nothing, that has nothing to do with you, you may be thinking, and then therefore you would say, okay, yep, also I'm not my sensations. Okay, so what is left when you really think about who you are? What is left is you, right? Your body, your name, your emotions, and the thoughts. So when it asks you, who are you, would say, okay, yep, I'm John. Here's my body. That is just who I am, and I have those emotions and the thoughts, and sometimes sensations, right, when I touch things and whatsoever. But also, I'm pretty sure you would agree with me, and maybe you would not agree with me that much, but that is also something that we have to realize, that the emotions, right, they're really dependent, you would say, on your circumstances, your mood, what is showing up in your life. So they're always changing, and I'm sure you would say, okay, I'm not my emotions. You would say, okay, sometimes I have this emotions, sometimes I have this emotions, this good emotion, this loving emotion, this anxious feeling, right? So we can also agree that we are not the emotions. So now we already left out a lot of stuff that most people identify themselves with, because most people, they also identify themselves with their circumstances and what is happening, their outside world, other people, what they are saying, and they say, yeah, that is who I am. But that's not who we are. So what is left is that, yeah, like your name, your body, and thoughts. But here comes the thing. I made a video which is called How to Deal with Negative Thoughts. I can link this here if you struggle with negative thoughts. And in there, I explained that the best solution in order to deal with negative thoughts, for example, is to realize that they're also coming and going, and the only thing negative about this is your identification with them. Because if you would learn to watch them, to observe them, to sit with them, to let them be there and come and go, then you would feel more free, more relaxed, and not attached to them. So thoughts basically is also something that is coming and going. Most people are still very identified with their thoughts, but that is still something which is coming and going, right? You cannot be a thought. This morning when you made breakfast, you had a completely different thought than you have right now when you watch this video on your smartphone or your laptop, on your iPad, whatever it may be. And this evening, you will also have different thoughts. So isn't it also that your thoughts are coming and going? Sometimes you think this, then you think, oh, I'm meeting with a friend, then you think, oh, I'm going to make something to eat for myself, whatever it may be. But still, this is also coming and going. So that is not who you are or who you can be, because you need to be something that is there all the time, that remains no matter what. But when the thought is gone, you are not gone. Right? When the thought that you had this morning is gone, you are somehow still there. Right? And then people say, okay, yep, I get it until this point. They say, okay, they stopped identifying with the outside world and circumstances. They stopped identifying with the sensations, with the emotions and the thoughts. And then they say, okay, but yeah, this is my body, this is my name, this is who I am. But the funny part is when we talk about the name kind of thing is, I mean, let's be pretty clear here. I mean, your name is something you can just go to any institution or government thing, and you can actually legally, in most states, I'm sure, you can change your name. You can just say, okay, I want to be called Eric, and then you change your name. It may cost some thousands, and then your name is Eric. Okay, so how can you be your name when your name is also changeable? So we have to completely get rid of the thinking that we are somehow our name. Your name is something that your parents gave you. It's something that society called you. But when your name would now be different, maybe Eric or Lisa, than your current name, you would also still be there. You would just be called a different name. So you cannot be your name, right? And then obviously we have this last instance where people say, okay, I am the body. Okay, I realize, yeah, everything is like slightly coming and going, but I need to be something that remains there all the time. So, yeah, I'm a body. But think about it, okay? Think about your life and think about maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, depending on how old you are right now, that your body also always changed. Right? When you were 5 years old, you had a completely different body than you're having right now with maybe 25 or 30 or 40 or 50 years old, right? But you are still there. The body has changed, but you are still there. But it's like you're there, and your body from the 5-year-old to now change, but it's not that the 5-year-old body then was gone and then therefore you were gone. No, the body changed, but you were still there, existing all the time, right? So you can also not be the body. And what we just discovered right here, what I just wanted to bring to you slightly so that you really get it, because I know maybe there's some new watchers, some people who are not into that or not so deep into that. What we just discovered is actually the layer of experience, which means there is something that is ever remaining, but the contents of it are changing. Like what is experienced is changing, but the thing that is experiencing that is aware of that is remaining there all the time. And by the way, guys, this is not any woo-woo stuff or weird stuff. You can have this exact same realization with just some meditations, with just this video. Okay, so I want to go on right now. So here's another quick example, right? Then we go back to this point of this layer of experience, this layer of being aware of something. So now, right now, I want you to do a little experiment. You can do this with me right now. Don't be one of the people that say, oh yeah, I don't need to do this. I just watched this video. I understand everything right now. Do this experiment with me now. So the experiment is very easy. Just close your eyes for a second. You can do it with eyes open, but it's easier with eyes closed. And just imagine a house right now. One house can be your house of your parents, doesn't matter, just a house. Okay, I give you 5 seconds, just do this. Okay, I'm doing the same. Got it, right? Just imagined a random house. So now the thing is, I want you to ask yourself right now those 2 questions, right? You imagine the house right now. Ask yourself those questions. First question is, who sees the image? First question. Second question is, what is the thing that sees the image? Okay, so who sees the image? And I'm sure when I would ask you right now who sees the image, you would say, I see the image, right? You wouldn't say, like my cat is seeing the image or my friend is seeing the image. No, you would say, okay, who sees the image? Obviously, I see the image. And then the other question is, what is the thing that sees the image? Like, there is like an observer, an experience that it has this experience of you seeing that house. Look, you when I ask you who sees the image, you say, okay, I see the image. But when I would ask you, what is the thing that sees the image, you need to be aware that you see this image. Okay, and if this is too deep for you, if this is not understandable for you, stay with me. At the end of this video, you will get it. So this is actually who you really are. Because what you are, what is never changing when you look at your life experience, what was there with you all the time is you being aware, you being conscious of your experience. So when you're 5 years old, you were aware of your experience that you're having. And now you watch this video and you're some years older, but you're still existing and you're still aware of it. And when you are 10 years older than now, you will still be existing, you will still be aware of your experience, but the contents, what you are aware of, what is happening, your thoughts, your emotions, your circumstances, they will change within that awareness that you are. Because you need to be something that is there all the time. So when I ask you, who am I? And you say, I am John, then we figured out that John is actually just a concept. That John is not yourself. There is no, the self that you claim yourself to be is actually just a role. It's actually just a concept. It's actually just a bundle and a bunch of assumptions, thoughts, beliefs combined to this identity that you now have in order to have this life experience. But beyond that which remains there all the time is your consciousness. So we can say that I am consciousness. So your true nature, right, behind all the concepts, all layers, is pure, unbiased consciousness. And Neville Goddard, in an awesome way, also described this in his lectures and realized that also. And that is like the observer. That is when you say, I am. That is God. That is awareness. And that is why it's called that in scripture, God is called I am. So when you say, I am, we often, your whole day long, you say, I'm hungry. I'm Nicholas. I am a business owner. I am living in Germany. And we never question this I am. But the I am is always with us. Like the I am aware of that. That is actually who you are. And the awesome thing is when you realize that deeply, you realize that within this awareness, there is this current experience that you're having right now. Okay, I'm aware of this microphone, this laptop that I'm speaking to, the camera, the surroundings. I'm aware of this. But through your imagination, that is why imagination is so powerful, you can actually experience things that are not in your physical awareness focus, but that they are still there. And therefore you can start to sense them, identify with them, occupy them, make them alive, and manifest them. But they're still there. That is all within your awareness. So you are, I keep going and then I will summarize that. So this understanding is necessary. It is a necessary understanding for you to break the identification with the ego, right? With your body, with your mind, with your emotions. Because when you are too attached to that, and I don't mean that you need to have like ego deaths or any stuff like that, do whatever you want. The only thing that I want to explain to you is that when you are too attached to your body, to your mind, to your emotions, right, then you are a slave, then you're a victim, and then you are never actually free, because then you will stay in this loop, in this identification, this attachment with whatever it is that your mind is telling you, and you fall for it. So when your mind is telling you you're not worthy, you are very limited in what you can do, you're not loved, and all of this shit, and you believe that because you are identified with the mind, you will never actually tap into this true nature, which is limitless, which is fully abundant, because everything is already there, creation is finished, everything is within it, and that is this oneness. So in order to consciously manifest and control the 3D world, not maybe control is the wrong word, but consciously choose whatever it is that you want to experience in your 3D world, you need to be identified with what is beyond the physical. And many, 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 many successful people, spiritual people, enlightened people, people that teach all of this amazing stuff to you, they have realized that there is way more than only your little small body and your mind. So consciousness, right, I am is always remaining, and the rest comes and goes. And that is what I explained to you in the beginning, right? When all the things you did yesterday, you were aware that you did those things in the moment, right? You are aware right now of having this experience of hearing my voice, watching this video. And tomorrow you will do something completely different, but you will still be there. You will still be aware. Your awareness is still there. But the contents, what you think, the emotions you have, the thoughts you have, the sensations you feel, that is coming and going. That is changing. So now, that is the only source of pain is when you attach yourself to that which is coming and going, and not to that which you really are, which is this formless, faceless, never-changing awareness of your experience. And again, this is what Neville calls God. So who you are is that you are. So who you are really, right behind the ego. Not saying that ego is a super bad thing and you have to fight it. Absolutely not. Without ego, you wouldn't have this human experience. So it's okay, right? Just don't be a slave and attached to it so much. Be way more identified with your true self, because then life is free-flowing and fun and amazing, and you are free. And you know that you're the God of reality. So the ego is not the God of reality. When you say, I'm the God, and you think, yeah, me, this ego is the God of reality, you're approaching this from a completely wrong way. You sitting right now in front of the camera, you're not the God of reality. But your consciousness of being, your awareness of being here, of having this, your experience, that is what Neville is calling the God. Right? That infinite, ever-present awareness of being. That is God. And Neville said consciousness is the only reality. Because that is actually the only thing that is real. Everything else is changing and coming and going. And how could it be something that is coming and going, shifting, sometimes this, sometimes this? How can this be the reality? Reality needs to be something that is never changing. Think about the hologram, right? The hologram is coming and going, so it cannot be real. But the only thing, again, that is real is something that is all the time there, which is your awareness of being. The awareness of being, you can never erase that from your experience. So that is like the observer. We can call this the observer, and the rest, your life, your ego, your mind, your emotions, that is basically the thing that is observed. That is why meditation, where you start to disengage from the thoughts and you start to watch them and realize that you are the watcher, is so powerful. So consciousness is what is the truth, and whatever you experience in consciousness, in imagination, is what is eternal, what is ever present, what is all the time there. That is why when you imagine the end, it is already real. It is already done because you experience it. So it is within consciousness, it's already real. And the rest of the 3D world is basically like a byproduct. It's like a projection within this consciousness, but it's always changing based on where you place your consciousness on, what you assume, what you identify yourself with. And that is like what Neville calls like the illusions, the shadow. Because again, it is always second. First is within, second is without. So when you imagine something and then it plays out, you get the result. First it was within, within consciousness, which is not seen. It's very subtle, right? You see your actions, you see what you do, but you can't see consciousness. It's this unseen reality that is there, ever present. I also made a video. It's a 2-part series. It's a very extensive video where I explain this whole process of reality creation and manifestation. Check this out, then you will understand this here even better. So consciousness also is now, right? Have you ever experienced something in the past or in the future? You haven't. When you really get this, you haven't. You can only ever experience the now, which means actually there is no past or future. That's like an human-made product, but everything is now, and the consciousness is now. You are this now, and past and future are just projections from the mind. But like there is only the now. There is no past, and then there is like a predetermined future. That's not how this works. This is like this linear way of thinking, but there is no linear way. You have to think in everything existing at once already, right now, right here. And you will always experience the same sense of I. You cannot change this sense of I am existing. I am aware of blah, blah, blah. I'm aware of my name. I'm aware of my body. I'm aware of my experiences, my emotions. That sense of you existing is remaining and there all the time. It is not changing. That's how it is. That's how it works. And here you can clearly see this, right? That is John, take you as an example, when you were 5 years old, and that is you right now. But when you're 5 years old, you still said, I am John. When someone asks you in the kindergarten, who are you? What's your name? You said, I'm John. And right now you still say, I'm John. So what has changed is your views on life, your assumptions, your beliefs, your thoughts, the emotional patterns you have. But this I am, this awareness of being has not changed. It remained the same. Only the contents of it has changed, right? So I am is ever present. And I tried to bring this in an illustration, in a picture that should enable you to grasp this even better, because this is more like a deeper understanding. Many people who come into manifesting, they only try techniques and stuff like that, and they get some results. But when you get this, manifestation, your life, everything in reality will automatically start to be more effortless, more peaceful, because you're not trying to force things from this ego perspective. You now come from this deeper level from which it is so much easier to get results. Okay? So this is the current paradigm, remember, where you say, okay, consciousness is now represented from this gray area, basically, where you say, okay, I'm this body, I'm on this world, everything is separate from me, and I have some emotions, some thoughts, some sensations, and there is this outside world, and I have consciousness in my brain, and my brain is producing that, right? And now the new paradigm would look in a picture, right? You cannot really put this into picture that is not conceptual, that is only that needs to be experienced by your own, but it would look like this, okay? So we discovered that there is something that is aware of our thoughts, of our emotions, of our sensations. Because think about it, when you have a thought right now, think about nice weather, sunny weather. Just think about it. You have this in your mind right now. When you're still, and you maybe do some meditation sometimes, you realize, okay, I can observe my thoughts, and they come and go, right? So when I can see my thoughts, I cannot be my thoughts. You cannot be like the thing that you see, that you observe, cannot be the observer at the same time. So there needs to be something that is aware of those thoughts, of those emotions, of you, of your body, which again is also always changing. Sometimes you have a little pain here. Sometimes you feel very good. You have a strong body. Sometimes you feel a bit weak. It's all the time changing and shifting. But you're still, this awareness still remains. And that is how this would look like. That is how I try to like understand it and bring the point across. And that is what we have, this consciousness, this awareness, right? And right now you are aware of your experience. And the awesome thing is through your imagination, because when you're unimaginative, you are bound to this and you only live by what your senses are dictating you. And you say, okay, this is now there, this circumstance is there, my thought is telling me this is how my life is and all of this shit. But when we now bring the component of your imagination, because your imagination enables you to make the shift from what it is that you currently experience to another possible state. So you can also translate reality with state, right? State of consciousness, right? This is right now your current state of consciousness, but through your imagination, you can also experience within your consciousness, right? Within your experience happens. You can also imagine and shift into and view a different state, view a different reality, a different version of yourself, experience something that also already exists within this consciousness. Some people call it parallel realities. Neville called it infinite states, but it actually means the exact same thing, right? That you are not bound to only this one linear experience. You can, through your imagination, shift into something and imagine something that is as real as what you experience, and even more real because it is always the first thing, and then it is reflected back in your circumstances and in what you experience. So I hope this makes sense to you. I hope you get this, right? You are aware of your experience, and through imagination, you can be aware of another state where you are more wealthy, where you experience something and imagine something that happens right now. Everything you imagine is real. I made a video called How to Imagine the Right Way, and there I explained to you that whatever you imagine is real, does exist, you perceive of it, you are aware of it, and everything that you are aware of does exist in some way. So now that I said that there is no fiction. Whatever you're aware of does exist. You cannot be aware of something and imagine something that does not exist. That's it. And through imagination again, and there are infinite possibilities, infinite ways, infinite states. And when you identify yourself more with this infinite consciousness, right, which can be aware of infinite states, in which are infinite states, in which are infinite versions of you that you can embody, then you start to feel more self-empowered. You start to feel the sense of expansion, because then you realize, wow, I'm not bound to only having this small body and ego and this little experience here. And that is what is so powerful. So within this consciousness are infinite possibilities, infinite possible states. You're actually only aware of one at a time, right? From your ego point of view, from this point of view, you cannot you cannot be aware of 1,000 states and be in them at the same time. But from this conscious point of view, everything is already there. That is why when you identify yourself with that, there is the sense of abundance, of infinity, of being complete and whole, because that is essentially who you really are when you identify with this infinite consciousness. And your true self is the source of everything, right? That is, Neville calls it, that is the fundament, the fundament on which all things are based on. And you can decide by becoming more conscious which identity you place in front of this consciousness through which you then are going to experience your life. That is the video that I linked some minutes ago above, where you see this whole reality creation process. Because you have this consciousness which has no face, which has no form, which has no concept. It's just existing. It's just this beingness, right? And then we have the concept of ourselves. Neville said this is the most important thing, which it is, right? Your identity, your self-concept, the role that you're playing, and that determines what is playing out in your life. But the source of that still, what is still beyond that, is this awareness, is this consciousness. So identifying yourself with your true nature, with this consciousness, also allows yourself to detach from circumstances, because you then quickly realize, okay, why should I attach and identify myself with circumstances that are, first of all, coming and going all the time? And also, then you realize that they are not separate from you. It's not that your, what we call like outside world is really separate from you. I mean, of course, yeah, we say things, we hear this stuff is there, but actually this is all within your experience. And that is actually when you change yourself, when you change your state, that your state of consciousness, that other people are going to reflect this back to you, because actually there is no separation. That's just on this like physical 3-dimensional plane, we think in terms of separation, but actually everything is one. Everything is this consciousness, because when I say I am Nicholas and you say I'm John, it is the same name. We all share the same name. We all share the same I amness, the same I am aware of, the same beingness, right? You don't say XYZ John. No, you say I am John. And that is the name of God. So we all have it. We all are the same consciousness, just like divided into different angles and different point of views, but it's the same consciousness that is underlying. So being more aware means becoming more peaceful, more fearless, and more loving, because you start to see everything is more one. You start to not be so attached to your circumstances, to your thoughts, and you will feel the sense of relief, and you will start to feel more empowered. And here's some quotes that I want to share with you from some wise people, including Neville, that have discovered this truth. So Neville said, I am is the feeling of permanent awareness. The very center of consciousness is the feeling of I am. I may forget who I am, where I am, or what I am, but I cannot forget that I am. The awareness of being remains, regardless of the degree of forgetfulness of who, where, and what I am. So it's actually exactly what I explained to you before, right? The contents change, right? So what you think, what you feel, what you do, that changes. But you being aware, or you existing, you having this experience of what is it, whatever you're doing, and observing that remains, no matter what. And you cannot erase it. You cannot escape your own being, because that is who you are. So the kingdom of heaven is within you. As the will of heaven is ever done on earth, you are today living in the heaven that you have established within you. For here on this very earth, your heaven reveals itself. The kingdom of heaven really is at hand. Now is the accepted time. So create a new heaven, enter into a new state of consciousness, and a new earth will appear. And I will do a video soon, which is called The Kingdom of Heaven is Within You, where I will actually talk about more about exactly this quote. I will link this above, so when it's online, you will find it here, and when not, you will find it on my channel. And what Neville is telling us here is this realization that sets you free. And that is that this kingdom of heaven is at hand, right? So that the kingdom of heaven is within you, not within your body. Don't try to find the kingdom of heaven within your body, within your brain. It's not the kingdom of heaven is within there. But when you identify with this consciousness, right, which can be conscious of your experience right now, but which can also be conscious of you already being wealthy, you already having the relationship you want, you already being more healthy, whatever it is, then you realize, wow, it is already within me. It's already within my potential. It is already within this consciousness, which is my true self, which means I am infinite. Everything is within me. Everything, I'm this whole abundant being, and I can occupy whatever state that I want to have, and therefore have the experience of that. So this is what Neville means by the kingdom of heaven is within you. Whatever state you occupy, whatever state of consciousness you choose, and the kingdom of heaven is within you, because they're all states that you ever want to have, want to occupy, want to manifest. They're all there at any given point of time. You don't need to worry about, oh, how can I become this state? How can I move in this state? Is there a different process? No. Every state is right at hand. Everything is right here, right now. Your only job is to imagine it and to occupy it consciously. So your inner being is he who men call God. There is nothing outside of that. There is no external God. There is only this awareness, which includes everything, which is you, which is God. And Neville also said, look at yourself in the mirror, and you're seeing the mask God is wearing in this world of death. but you cannot see the immortal you who cannot die. And I think this is a great quote, because what the point that he shares here is that what we see when we look into the mirror, when I now speak to you, what you see is like this mask. Okay, that's currently what I'm occupying. That's Nicholas. That's my body. That's who I'm in this world right now. But this awareness of being, like I also mentioned before in this video, is very subtle, like super subtle. You cannot see it. You cannot see this awareness, but it is the underlying essence of everything. So, and that is God. Again, so you are God wearing a mask to have this human experience and to experience this world of duality, but it's just a play, right? It's this game of life. And I made a video called The Game of Life. Also check this out. It's an amazing video. And it's very powerful to understand this. So your awareness of being is God. I want you to let this sink in. Your awareness of being is God. So who you are is that you are. Your existence, only that you exist, proves to you that you are an infinite being. But most people are so like unaligned or detached from this understanding, from their true self, that they can't live a life of peace and freedom and this inner harmony and this empowerment, because they don't realize that they have all those capacities, that it's all within them, and that they are so powerful. Right? So your awareness of being. And if you don't understand this right now, if it's difficult for you, there are some great meditations with which you can realize that, within which you can identify yourself with the mind and the emotions and start to step into this awareness perspective, start to identify yourself and realize that you are this ever-present awareness, which is not changing. So you think of yourself as a citizen of the universe. You think you belong to this world of dust and matter. Out of this dust and matter, you have created a personal image, and you have forgotten about the essence of your true origin, right? From Rumi, and that is such an amazing quote, right? You think you are born in this physical world, and now that is who you are. This is the circumstances. You have a certain past, a certain future. It's not changeable. Everything is set in stone. It's destiny and all of this shit. You cannot change stuff, and you're just bound to this one experience. But that is the falsest thing that is there, because you can consciously 100% exactly determine in which states you shift internally, and therefore whatever it is that you experience. So there is no one predetermined future. And I like how he calls it like this world of dust and matter, right? We experience like this three-dimensional world of dust and matter, but there is so much more within you. And out of this dust and matter, you've created a personal image, right? So this personal image is actually the ego. And the only problem, in my opinion right now, is that when you are very unconscious and you let this ego being created through circumstances, through other people, through whatever is happening to you, and you're very unaware of who you claim yourself to be and therefore what is happening. Because in life, you don't get what you want, you get who you are. You get reflected back to you your identity, your state of consciousness. So we have to become aware that we are not bound to one state. Never. We are only in a state when we're experiencing something. Right now, I'm in a state of explaining that to you, and you are in a state of being the listener. It's all a state, but you're not bound to a state. You can shift out to and shift into any given state that you want. That is your freedom, because that is who you are. You're just occupying states. So you're not a drop in the ocean, but you're actually the entire ocean in a drop, right? And stop acting small, because you are the universe in ecstatic motion. So this universe, it's not something that is outside of us. We are this complete universe. We are this ever-present consciousness, having this experience as this body experiencing this world. But you are not this body, just what you discovered in this video, right? So you are actually the whole universe in this one drop. You're the universe and this consciousness experiencing itself through your personal and subjective experience. So your mother, your father, your friends, they experience life in a completely different way. You don't know their thoughts. You don't know what they are aware of. They have this new angle from which they experience the world, but it's the same awareness, just experiencing life and itself through different points, because everything is awareness. So the whole universe is contained within a single human being, which is you. So look at yourself. Oh, okay, we just had this quote. I go back into the presentation. But I'm sure by now you got it, right? That this is who you actually are. And I hope that I helped you to understand this, because when you really get this, right, not just conceptual, but I mean really through some experiences, through maybe some meditations here and there, whatever you prefer, through just acknowledging that and really having this self-realization by watching this video again, by asking yourself the questions that I shared in this presentation again and again and again, you will come to the realization that you are not this body, you are not this mind. How can you be that when it's changing all the time, coming and going, right? So understand that that you are infinite, that you are this infinite consciousness, that you occupy just a state at any given time, and that you are basically the universe. And that is what those deeper teachers and everyone who's a little bit more into those teachings has realized. And that is what remembering who you really are means, right? Remember that you're not bound to this one ego that you currently are identified with. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments if this video helped you, if this was clear to you. If you have any questions, also let me know. And that's it for this video. Thank you very much, guys. See you. Talk to you in the next video. Bye.